Here it is, my friends, one of my top picks for 2016. This is the new JVC KW-V51BT models, the flagship in their in-dash double DIN receivers. Pretty nice. It's that time of year. Last year I came out and I did the 50BT review. Here we are in 2016 in February. Here's what you see inside there: the microphone, the ISO mount, the screws, the remote, harness, and of course the Bible, which comes with a unit such as this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get set up here. I'm going to do my typical yapping, and while I go through some of the features on the unit, the superficial features, then I get in there and start flashing on the screen, showing you what's what inside and how it works. So let's get to this review of the KW-V51BT. Now with this unit on currently in demo mode, I'm just going to let that do its little disco show, and in the background I'm just going to cover some of the main highlights of the unit. Now essentially, if you watch the review on the KW-50BT, because I've seen my old review on the 50BT, and then I've seen some of the later stuff coming out with this current model, right? Now a lot of people ask the same question: what's the difference between the 50 and the 51? Well, let me get that covered, because there's no point in watching me for 10 minutes if that's the only thing you want to know, right? Okay, I do. So this model here supports all the new apps, the Waze, the mirror link with the HDMI. That's basically the essential big difference between this one and the old 51BT. This one also has the 7-step motorized screen. It has the enhanced Bluetooth, because the technology has to evolve. It can't always be the same old, same old. But aside from that, a lot of the features that you come to expect on last year's, like the 30BT and the 50BT, very much the same. 7-inch, it's a WVGA type monitor, customizable guided user interface built in there, variable color illumination, which is basically the standard for the last few years with pretty much all the models, so that's not a big deal. 50x4, 19x4 RMS, which is nothing exciting. What is exciting is that this unit boasts 4-volt preamp outputs for front, rear, and sub, and I'm going to show you the backside in a minute. Getting involved in the Bluetooth functionality, okay? Now, this one supports the FHP 1.6 is the wideband speech. So this one will do audio streaming, voice recognition, internet radio control for iPhone plus Android. And there's going to be a difference between the cables, and I'm going to touch on that as well. There's separate cables that you can use for this unit. It's not just one size fits all. Of course, it will support the Siri eyes-free mode, auto pairing for iPhone, full smartphone control for Android, again with the correct cable. I'm going to say it, and I'm also going to put it down in the description below, so that way if you're interested, the information should be there and available for anybody who needs to take advantage of that information. The MHL cable is the one which you're going to buy separately to utilize and do all the mirror link functionality with this unit. If you're just going to use it for iPod audio and video, then the KS-U59 or 61 will be the choice for you. Like someone like me, that's all I would ever use it for, so that would be me. I don't particularly use an in-dash like this and use an app-based GPS like Waze or something like that. That would be for the user who uses the MHL cable, like right there. They're showing that's the one you're going to want to use, so that way you can link and have what's going on the phone, go back and forth, and do the same on the main monitor. Okay. Aside from that, App Link mode, which supports iPod, iPhone 4S, and iPhone 5. Media playback, it plays all the typical band faves, plus Wave, AAC, FLAC, Giga MP3, WMB, MPEGs, MPEG-4s, DivX, AVIs, BMP, all that stuff. 3-band parametric IEQ plus 7-band EQ, which is exactly the same as last year. Laid out slightly different, but more or less looks very much similar. Dual zone, just like it used to have. Wireless remote, steering wheel ready. All the same, all the same. Moving forward, USB on the rear. I'm going to show you how that works. Radio tuner. This unit here will actually support both USA and PAL. So if you're doing playback, you could actually take this because it also supports different languages. So our friends in Europe could use this unit just as well as an American. Pretty cool. I think that that's nice, and it's a good way for the manufacturer to position themselves internationally to sell this unit to everybody. That's cool. I think that's a good move for JVC / Kenwood. They're making good decisions. And I'm all for this company. I've always loved this company, even when people said it was ugly and nobody liked it. Look at them now. They're blowing up. It's in my dashboard. What else can I say? It's a great unit. That's why I love reviewing this unit, because every time I get to see what my car doesn't have, right? Okay, so moving forward, Wallpaper capture, dimmers built into it. I'm going to show you how this unit interacts with some of the functionality. I'm going to plug in my iPod, show you the screens, how it all works, what the EQ looks like, some of the feature screens. So let's get involved in that. But before we do that, let me turn this bad boy around and show you the back side, because that's where the action is, in my opinion. So, let me get this around here real quick. Now let me show you what's going on here. We got over here, you have a reverse lead, parking brake, which they give you this little extension cable. That's going to be your DVD safety switch wire, by the way. So if you're going to want to address that with a bypass or a relay, whatever, this is the wire you want to use for that. Over here, you got standard 16-pin harness, which is the fare, has been forever. However, now they add this for a steering wheel remote control, which a lot of the manufacturers have been doing lately. You have a blue and a blue-white, so power antenna and amp turn on. Your 4 pairs of outputs for your speakers, power accessory ground, nothing exciting going on there. Enough said, 10 amp fuse. Up in here you have the MHL for the HDMI cable for your smartphone. And you have the mic input, which is supplied. It's not built into the face, if you were wondering. It's a plug-in deal. They give you a lead so you can run it out. Over here, your front, rear, and sub, all stereo outputs, 4-volt preamp outputs for your amplifiers. AV input analog. Over here you have your dedicated reverse camera input and your slave video output. Analog antenna input right here. And over here we have the USB, which you would adapt your corresponding JVC adapter cable. However, you can use a standard sync cable. It works just as well, folks. You don't have to buy the JVC name brand glitzy glammy cable. The standard sync cables, even the Chinese stuff, works pretty well. They don't last forever, I found, in my own personal use for some reason, but they do last for a while. And at the going rates of Chinese cables, it actually might be a pretty good investment for most people. Aside from that, the same remote control they had last year, that has not changed. Fan is built in because I could feel it air conditioning my my arm hair. Over here you have an expandable plug for your SiriusXM, so if you wanted to take advantage of that, that's how you do it. As far as all the other stuff, it's all app-based, so you're going to use it from your smartphone to the unit. If you're using iHeart or Pandora, obviously that's done via Bluetooth wirelessly. So let's turn this unit on, shall we, and see what this bad boy can do. So here we are at the main screen. I have my iPhone plugged in, which I showed you. I was telling you about my main cable. I just use a regular thin cable. Nothing exciting. I'm going to hit my home screen. So basically, from here is where you can do all your stuff. So if you wanted to open up the unit, if you touch the eject button, it'll give you the 7 modes of you could tilt it. So I'll just show you how it works, just for the heck of it. You know, in and out. Pretty cool, right? So depending if it's higher or lower in your dashboard, how it sets, you can set it up to be just right, so you don't have any glare, which I like. That's pretty cool, right? That's fully retracted down. You'll notice that there's an absence of an SD card or anything else back there. They got their plugs there for Sirius, Pandora, and iHeartRadio. Got to get that advertising in there, right? Okay, so moving on. ATT is your attenuator for your muting. Home, this is your app screen. So if you have to download your apps, obviously, onto this unit in order to utilize like Waze or GPS, you know, there's so many of them. There's so many apps. I'm not going to cover them all. If anything, I should make a separate video because that's a whole nother thing in itself. And if you are using already apps on a phone with mirror linking or that type of technology already, it's just more of the same. You're just going to utilize it with this particular unit. No proprietary technology with the exception of iHeartRadio. Everything pretty much works generically across the marketplace as far as I'm concerned with all these brands. So your radio tuner, nothing exciting. There's all your presets. You can customize the background, the LCD, the color, all that stuff, which is really nice, but nothing to be unexpected, especially in a high-end unit such as this one. If you were going to use your apps, it would already tell you what your connection is, where it's located, and all that stuff. Add a separate source if need be. Your iPod, which is here. Set that sucker right up. I got some music playing. So let's see what we got. Be Like That. 3 doors down. That's what we got. Perfect. There's your music artwork. Now, when you want to do your search, playlists, artists, albums, songs, podcasts, all located right here. You could do your alphabetical search. You could do your files up and down, movies, audio, and a quick toggle to go back, which is great. Audio books, which is great. I use a lot of that. Composers, genres. I don't particularly sort my iPod that way because I'm lazy. But if you do, that's how you can access it. I mean, it looks really good. Nice and clean. And I'm going to show you some really cool stuff, how you can adjust, you know, all these different functions, like with your fingers for changing tracks, going up and down, and this whole crazy thing. Let me show you that actually right now. I'm in the mood to do it. Let's just do it. Okay. So let's say we're here on this. It's not working. Interesting. Alright, moving on. All your home screen right here would be for your HDMI. Like I said, that's a separate deal. And I'm actually going to try to put something in here for you all so you can see exactly how those functions work with this particular unit, how it looks, how it lays out. Your Sirius is here, iHeartRadio, Pandora, AV input, which is the analog plug in the back, which I showed you, AM FM tuner, your CD or DVD would go right there, your USB drive, which you could use, it shares the same plug in the back as the iPod, just so you know. iPod Direct, which is what I just showed you before. Bluetooth audio, which is for your streaming. Your rear source, because this unit can do actually two sources simultaneously, meaning that you can actually have your iPod playing on your front zone, your iPod can be playing on the front speakers of your vehicle. You can have a DVD in the drive to be playing on a flip down screen or headrest in the rear for your passengers. And while all that's going on, you could have GPS running if you had the app so equipped with the unit, as well as take a Bluetooth hands-free call all simultaneously. Pretty cool, right? What else would you expect from a powerhouse like JVC? AV off, so if you want to turn the screen off. Your camera has a dedicated input. Obviously, when you put your vehicle in reverse, you can have your camera set up. I'm going to show you the settings so you can see what you're in for as far as if you want to customize how it all works. Settings. This is just like KW-V51BT from last year, by the way. Just for me, anyway. Just when I turned it on, I said, wow, that's so familiar. Fader and balance, nothing exciting there. Display design. I mean, these are all your backgrounds, so you can see what's going on as I do it. It's changing up. It's really cool. It's nice. Very sharp resolution on the screen. Really nice. There's your display settings. Nighttime mode if you want. You could also import your own image. I turn the demonstration mode off because it's kind of annoying me. The scrolling mode, auto once and off, so that way when you're playing the music from an iPod, it could do the scroll. Ever scroll, it'll do the one time and stop, or it'll just stay on there and never move. It's your choice, whatever you want it to be. GUI means guided user interface. So you can adjust all this stuff. How you want that to look. Daytime, nighttime settings. So let's go into the audio settings. Fader balance, I'm not going to waste my time, but I'll just give you a quick look at what it looks like. EQ, that's where the money is right there. That's where I like to be. Now here, you got a parametric / graphic EQ. It's a little weird, but it makes a lot of sense once you start playing with it. It's really cool. So of course, we're never going to use the preset factory junk because that's just totally not cool. But that's what they look like. User, that's what we want to do. And you could play with this stuff just like all day. I could just stay here and just... wow, what I could do. I love it. Now, you got your pro settings. You can adjust your low setting frequencies. And this takes a little practice to make it all work out. But trust me, anything you can think of how you want it to lay out is doable. But you have your high band, mid band, and your low band. So your 3-band parametric. Then you have in here 12 bands, essentially to break down everything from 1 hertz all the way up to 20,000, actually 15,000 hertz. Or is that 20,000 hertz and this isn't labeled? I don't know. But whichever the case, it's all here. Loudness control, which is going to emphasize your lower bass response at lower volume levels. You would cut that off if you're playing at a higher volume level, of course. Crossover points, you have a high pass filter, low pass filter, subwoofer level, phasing for your woofers if they're reversing an enclosure, whatever it is. Frequency, you got 50 hertz cutoff, 60 hertz, 80, 100, 120, 50, and 180. You don't need to go any higher than that, but they still give you 220. They give you more than what you could ask for. No one needs all that. I would never use it, personally. High pass filter, so that way you can have cut off at 80 hertz, and then you could have, say, in rear fill, you could do an 80 hertz and up, and then you could have a subwoofer. At 50 hertz, you can create a band pass filter, an overlaying filter. You could have one stop and one pickup from rear fill to front fill to front stage to rear fill. I mean, the choices are endless. What you could do with this unit, it's all here. Crossover, volume adjust, which is basically for all your different independent sources. So that way, if you toggle from, say, XM to Sirius to DVD, whatever the case, it's not going to be one is going to be abruptly higher or lower than the next one. That's how you would get rid of that. Speaker selection, this is all your settings of how you want those to lay out. It's very similar to a home theater system. It's in the manual, trust me, it's there. But it's a whole lot to go through, I think, personally, for most people. Bandwidth, this is for your AM FM settings. This is where you're located. Like I said, this thing works internationally. It's not just a United States product. They've marketed this thing magnificently. I would have done the same thing if this was my unit. Love it. This unit also supports RDS, so that way if you have a digital transmitting station, it'll transmit the song, the artist, where it's coming out of right on the screen without doing anything, and that all will be displayed right up in this area right here. This here is your functions, so you can see what's going on. You have your dimmer for all your AV stuff. Camera input, you can turn it on and off. Here's your system settings for your language. You got English, Spanish, French, Dutch, Italian. It just goes on and on. Netherlands, Portuguese, Turkey. I mean, that's just too much. I'm surprised. How do they even get all that stuff on one unit? It's crazy. Calendar setting. Like we need a calendar in our dash, but it's there. iPod setting, app settings, Bluetooth setups. Beeping, turn it on, turn it off, user profile, save settings for different people, adjust your touch panel screen so that way it works per your fingers and no one else's, initializing the system, which is not a big deal, system information, that's going to be your version, all that kind of stuff if you're doing firmware updates. That's going to apply very much because on the top of this unit I noticed that there's a code there. I've never seen that code before, but obviously this system is very sensitive to the firmware or whatever it's running, which is cool because so much stuff now is so software based or firmware based. I mean, what a great unit. You see how responsive this thing is, by the way, right? You take advantage that a unit like this is supposed to just work as well as it does. But when you're using something and it's just this flawless and just that seamless, you know that you're working with a good unit because this unit truly is a great unit. I have never once turned one of these units made by JVC and just felt like, you know what, this thing could be less laggy, less better, less sticky, less gummy. This unit just works terrific. What else can you say about a JVC? JVC just makes good product. So if you're looking for a good flagship in-dash all-in-one DVD, CD, MP3, MP4, MP everything, this thing just it's a powerhouse of a unit. Smartphone connection, up the yin-yang, totally with it, man. So if you're looking for the latest, greatest stuff and an in-dash, give this piece a good thorough look at. The JVC site has a pretty good interactive video, and it shows a lot of the stuff that I didn't cover regarding the smartphone integration. So give that a look, and there you have it. That's my look at the KW-V51BT.